Just want to say first off, thank you for everyone attending and to all the other speakers, excellent job. So yeah, I'm going to get into a little bit of the tactical stuff here. So, um, you know, as a whole, I'm going to be speaking on, how mediators like yourself can really start leveraging AI to get in front of and get more visibility with attorneys, which is obviously your ideal, referral partner, your ideal client, right? So just quickly, sorry about me. I've been in digital marketing for a little over a decade. I've worked at some big companies in corporate America, the Miami Dolphins, Comcast, to name a few. But back in 2017, I started a marketing agency working with a lot of lawyers specifically on their digital marketing efforts, websites, SEO, things like that. But last year, I really decided to pivot into AI when I saw how much impact it could have on small businesses. And ultimately, now what we're doing is helping businesses make more money, save time, save money, and ultimately be more efficient through the use of AI. So, as has been stated, the shift has already begun. It's here. And every decade or so, something comes along that really separates businesses from, from being successful and the ones that are not successful. And for mediators and other professionals, that shift is happening now. And it's not about replacing, professionals. It's about replacing outdated marketing strategies. And firms that can use and leverage AI for outreach and relationship building, to get in front of more attorneys consistently and automatically can do this without adding hours of networking and admin work and more staff. So if you can embrace this technology now, you're going to gain a significant competitive advantage while building a thriving practice. So as been stated, why do mediators need a modern system? I think more than any other profession, attorneys are bombarded with generic sales pitches, whether it's from marketing agencies, commercial cleaners, whatever the case may be. But they really want to have, establish an authentic relationship with mediators that they can trust to help their clients, right? That's ultimately what you could do for them. So we want to build lasting relationships, but that takes consistent outreach and follow-up, which is something we really don't have a lot of time for. So AI automation can allow us to stay top of mind without the time consuming manual effort. So we want to use AI to personalize our outreach, and then you can exponentially increase your visibility and credibility with attorneys, right? So I'm going to get into the system, but basically think about it as your 24/7 marketing assistant. It can research, draft customized outreach, track your engagement, and even personalize and fit your tone and your company culture. And it's really like just having that extra team member there without having to add the salary, without having to add all this extra training and everything like that. And it keeps your name in front of the people you want to be in front of. So this is what I call the mediator AI growth system. We're going to start, and this is what I'm going to specifically demo, is we need a Google Map AI outreach agent. Why Google Maps? It has the most businesses, the most authentic information, most up-to-date information, and most businesses, including attorneys, obviously have their information on Google. So we need a way to scrape that. Then we need an outreach agent that can email them at scale, safely, and obviously automated. And then the other part of this is the LinkedIn side of things. Where are professionals, attorneys? They're on LinkedIn. So we need a way to find and scrape them and outreach to them, that can build your list, build the way that you message them, automated, and ultimately we want to track all that somewhere like a CRM, a customer relationship manager, to know, are we getting an ROI from these efforts, right? Where are these leads in our pipeline? And ultimately that leads to those book meetings and referrals that you mediators are all seeking, right? And establishing those relationships. So here's, I'm going to go into this demo here, but here's how it starts. Basically, we have a tool here called Notiq, Notiq, and this is a Google Map AI agent that can find really pertinent data about attorneys by just putting in a simple prompt. The type of firm you're looking for, whether that's a divorce, family law firm, business, whatever the case may be. It will tell you who the decision makers are, and it will tell you how likely they are to answer, how likelihood that the email is correct, and give you a ton of really great data. So let me go into that really quick. So here is the platform. Can you guys see, everyone see this? Okay. So basically what this looks like is when you go in here, if you want to, I already did a campaign to save some time here, but what it would look like is something like this. So if you were trying to, if you're looking for a family law attorney in Miami, Florida, or you could say here, owners, founders of family law firms in Miami, Florida. Within about 20 to 30 minutes, if I press this, it's going to scrape that area across Google and find the decision makers at family law firms. Once it finds that information, it's going to look like this. As you can see, we did business attorneys in Florida, and within 20 minutes, it found us over 1,000 leads. And what that looks like is this. So it's going to give you the name of the company. It's going to give you the key partner, decision maker, owner, founder. It's going to give you their email address, their LinkedIn, personal LinkedIn profile, their website, and a few other data points. But what makes this powerful is not only how quickly it finds these decision makers in your ideal client profile, but you can export these to Excel, okay? So that's going to be step one in the process. You're going to compile this list and you're going to export it to Excel. From there, you're going to use a tool that is called Bouncer. What this does is this allows you to upload lists of any size, and it will tell you which emails are valid, which ones are spammy, which emails are bouncing back because maybe the person doesn't work there anymore, so their email changed. Maybe they changed their website domain name to something else and that email is outdated, right? So this is going to tell you what emails are safe to send. This is super important for your email deliverability. If you're just taking the first list you get and emailing it and you get 100, 200, 300 bounce backs, that's going to hurt your ability to deliver emails at mass scale. So once you open this list here, let's say this list had
Do you
about...
want to explain why? Maybe explain why?
Sure.
No, I'm saying why would it affect deliverability for the next round? I think it's important for them to
So
know.
yeah, that it basically a lot of these email platforms, whether you get your email, you have your email hosting on GoDaddy, Google Workspace, Outlook, whatever the case may be, they will flag when a lot of emails are going into spam or bouncing back, and ultimately red flags your email domain and can hurt your deliverability in the future. So you may get some warnings, but ultimately, if you have all these different bounce backs, it's going to hurt the way that your emails can be delivered. So what this does is you can see I upload a list of over 1,500 people. And it tells me right here, 1,400 are deliverable. Then, a little over 120 plus are in some way not deliverable. They're considered risky, they no longer work, or it's unknown. So then what you could do is you get the results and you can just click here, safe to send. And you can download that from that list of 1540. Now I can download the 1279. They're actually safe to send in a matter of minutes. This is something before without AI that would have taken, maybe a month to do or something like that, right? So now it tells you your bounce estimate is 0.7. If you're under 3%, you're going to be pretty safe there. So this allows you to download a completely clean list from there. Then from there, you got to write your emails. Generally, an email sequence could be anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6 emails. So I've developed what a GBT in ChatGPT specifically for email campaigns and mass outreach that is going to, I will send this prompt to you, but basically it's a back and forth conversation where it's going to ask you questions about who are you targeting in these emails? What are you offering? What is your call to action? Do you have any sense of urgency? What are the different parts that make this attractive? What can be personalized in these emails that will ultimately resonate with the attorney that you're targeting? So it basically starts asking all these questions. It asks you to upload things about your company, about your brand. It asks you to paint a picture of what this attorney's world looks like before working with you, what pain points they have, how you solve them, and what the world looks like after you started working with them. So this takes about 10 minutes and you go back and forth, and ultimately it's going to generate an entire campaign for you that looks something like this. So I'll have email 1, with multiple subject line options that you could test out, test and measure, and it'll give you the body copy of all of these emails. And as you go down, it will ask you, does that sound good? Does this match your brand voice? And as as mentioned before, you don't always want to take the first response. You want to say why, why is that the best email? Will this resonate the most? But you can proofread through them, and basically you're going to get an entire sequence here. So this GBT is already pre-made for you. You don't have to think of the prompt. You don't have to come up with something. It's already pre-made, and I can actually share that link with you, and you can actually integrate it right into your own ChatGPT account. So once now you've downloaded your emails from Noteek, your email list. You've run it through the spam checker to make sure there's no faulty emails that will hurt your deliverability. You've crafted a really highly personalized campaign based on people's pain points, showing the benefits of how you help. It's very personalized to your target audience, which is the attorneys. Then what you're going to do is, and these are the steps that not a lot of people take, and why some people might say email is dead, email doesn't work. They're not doing these little things that ensure your deliverability will be maximized. Then you're going to take it into this free tool here it's just called Spam Checker. And I put in a sample email here already. And what this tells you is what words could be flagged by Outlook, by Google Workspace, by AOL, whatever it is, for coming off as shady, salesy, over-promising. There's a lot of different things, and it'll be highlighted in different colors. So you can literally come in here and say, okay, I hope your week's off to a great start. You would change that, and you're going to change it until you have 100% where there's no color. So I hope your week is going well, right? Okay, that worked right there to get rid of that red. Legal, you have to find a different way to say that. We have to get a little creative sometimes. Just certain words can trigger a spam effect in inboxes. So now let's say you've taken your 4, 5, 6 emails, you've run them all through here, you've gotten them at 100%. So now we have very safe email addresses to send to, and we have safe email copy or email verbiage that we can send. Then the final step of this equation is you're going to run it into Instantly. Instantly is an email deliverability or email sending tool where you can have multiple email addresses sending these campaigns. So what you could do in here is you could buy a domain that's very similar to your domain. So if your website domain is xyzlawfirm.com, you could buy xyzlawfirmfl or florida.com. The reason you want to buy a different domain, you never really want to send out mass emails from your primary domain. There is an inherent risk to that. So you buy a very similar one, and then you buy multiple email addresses. You could see I have A11, Alan.Levin, a bunch of different variations. And why is that? Generally, the rule of thumb is sending about 30 to 40 emails per day per email address. So if you only have one email and you have 1,000 people you're sending to, that's going to take quite some time. And if you want to do this at scale, you want to have 10, 15 email addresses. So all of a sudden, if I have 3 email addresses, I can now send out 90 to 120 emails per day versus just 30 to 40 if I had one, and so on and so forth. So you can see here, I have upwards of 20 to 25 different emails, which allows me to send 200, 300, 400 emails per day and go through this list a lot faster, see what is working for me, and A/B or split test different strategies and email copy out to see what's performing the best. So once you do that, then you have a campaign here. It's fairly simple. Let me show you what just a finished one looks like. So you're going to take that safe list that you got from Noteek that you ran through Bouncer. You're going to upload it into here, and you'll see all of the emails in here. Will map it with name, email, company name, so you can personalize these emails a bit. Then you're going to take your safe email verbiage or email copy, and you're going to put it into here. And just like ChatGPT gave us 3 subject lines, well, you could test out multiple subject lines here. And you'll put in the body copy for, your whatever it is. In this example, I have 4 emails that I'm sending out, and they are whatever cadence you feel is most tactful. Generally, I separate emails by 3 days in between, 3-4 days. So then you load it into here, you schedule it, and generally Monday through Friday, something like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. would be good. And then you sit back, and that's the crux of your work. You are done. You have set up this automated system. There's obviously a little bit of nuance, and it takes a little bit of legwork up front, But the difference here is these are a lot of these steps going through the spam checker and the email bounce tool. These are steps people don't take and they automatically say, oh, email doesn't work. But they're not doing all the in between steps to really make this the most effective strategy for them. And once you've set this up, AI takes care of the rest. It can keep repopulating your list. It can change, you can add in more leads into the sequence. You can start to look at who's responding, who's opening the emails, who's clicking, what subject lines perform best. So you're going to really look at your data and your metrics here. And that's
Oh,
kind of
I'm
the,
sorry to interrupt you because
yes.
you're in flow, and I apologize, but I'm loving what I'm hearing. Robert said, wouldn't having AI in the email be a detriment, spam, etc. And I wanted to ask you, so I'm hearing what you're saying, I'm loving it, and for like a busy mediator like myself, how long is it going to take me to do this? And or is this something that I can like when I started getting really busy, I hired an administrator. Is this like do we need to can we do this ourselves practically? What's the cost of farming it out? What are your thoughts? And thank you.
Sure. So I have a whole SOP for this entire process that if you follow it, you can have this setup done, I would say, in about 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours, set this up. So that if you follow that same work, and can you offload it to, an assistant or secretary? Absolutely. This is a very trainable. I made this extremely easy to use because I've done this so many times that I was able to create an SOP that really all the shortcuts, all the figuring out, all the tips and tricks are all in there to make this extremely efficient, and it's definitely affordable. I mean, most of these tools are well under $100 a month. They're all month to month. You don't have any sign any long-term contracts or anything like that. So yes, it's very trainable, and yes, a busy mediator could get this done in a couple hours following the SOP, and then once it's running, it's running. To address the AI in emails, so that's part of the reason why we use the spam checker tool to see if any terminology is going to come up that doesn't look natural. There's literally, like we saw on that page, there was something that said shady. Well, there's another one that will say unnatural, and that is specifically referring to like typical words that AI platforms like ChatGPT or Perplexity will use. I also have a prompt in there in that GBT I set up that says, please remove any typical AI things like emojis. AI always puts out emojis. It always puts out those long hyphens, the kind of two hyphens that are next to each other. It removes that. So it's going to remove out a lot of the typical things that make it ultimately look unnatural and much more fit your voice. It also, part of that prompt, will ask you, how do you normally speak? Is it professional and friendly? Is it serious? Is it educational? So it will capture the tone that you use, and you can even upload other emails you've sent out, blogs you've created, case studies you've created, whatever it is, that it can capture your natural tone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but Alan, by the way, great. I'm loving it. And Brandon says, Alan says everything will just keep running. How does that happen if we're moving between 4 different websites?
So initially, you are moving between the 4 different websites, but you've created enough volume where everything is going to be feeding into each other. So there's another part of this that's a little bit on the technical side, but there are tools that connect these 4 tools together that we've created. That's part of the growth system that connect all 4 tools together. And the only maintenance required is if you are changing up your campaign. So let's say you're initially targeting divorce mediators and you want to switch to business mediators, then you need to switch up, in terms of if you're going to run multiple campaigns within the same target niche, it's going to keep running due to a tool we use called Zapier that connects all these together and kind of keeps entering people into your funnel for you. So it does require a one-time setup, like I said, but it's fairly quick compared to a lot of other things. And then the only maintenance from there would be, do we want to add in a completely brand new campaign? Or, hey, this verbiage really is not working as good as I hoped. Let's make some tweaks to the verbiage. And that's where that human element, human touch comes in.